News and information on podcasting. From Chicago, the latest from podnews.net with Podscribe, now IAB certified. The Pew Research Center has released a study examining podcasts as a source of news and information. The study suggests that 2/3 of all podcast listeners have heard news discussed on the podcast they listen to, and almost all of them expect that news to be accurate. However, few directly listen to podcasts from a news organization. We link to the full study and talk to Elisa Shearer, a senior researcher at Pew Research Center, on Friday's Pod News Weekly Review. TalkSport, a UK sports broadcaster, has launched a football podcast network. The network includes many fan-led soccer shows, and the network will enable advertisers to target football supporters at scale. Video podcasts are coming to APM. Financially Inclined, starting on Thursday, will break down money lessons for a teen and young adult audience. Episodes will be available on both YouTube and in audio form via RSS. Audioboom has announced a slate of new podcasts, including financial, comedy and horror. And a generally held truth is that none of Spotify's The Ringer shows are exclusive to the platform, but that's not quite true. The Ringer MMA show has been mainly exclusive on Spotify. The show was once produced on Spotify Green Room. It appears to now be made using Twitter Spaces. In AI Corner today, because we've got that much news about AI, podcast hosting company Osher has added ChatGPT to its social media manager system as a private beta. It can now, if you want it to, automatically generate your social media posts with AI. Write Panda is an AI generation tool to automatically write show notes, titles, and other elements for your podcast. And AI voice cloning for podcasts is a concern, according to Duncan Crabtree Ireland, who's the National Executive Director of Performers and Broadcasters Union SAG-AFTRA. In People News, Nir Zicherman is to leave Spotify. With Michael Mignano, he was co-founder of Anchor and is currently VP and Global Head of Audiobooks, which he describes as groundbreaking work. Mignano left Spotify last June. Zicherman's last day is September the 30th, when he'll work on a new project in the startup space. The new board of the Podcast Academy has been announced. An email says, congratulations to Donald Albright, Chris Cochran, Sarisa Cuccimanci, Juleka Lantiga, Christy Mirabal, Sierra Reed, Jen Sargent and Matty Stout as they join or continue with our board of governors starting on May the 1st. And Brian Mayfield has retired after almost 15 years working at Ramsey Network. And in podcast news, when does competition become an obsession? Stories of the wildest fights, feuds and frenemies are on fierce rivalries with Delta Work and Kelsey Paget as they explore how petty and dramatic things can get when two people want nothing more than to beat the other. The subjects of the first episode are Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and the podcast is from Sony Music Podcasts and Something Else. And The Last Ride follows the story of two young men of colour who went missing in Naples in Florida nearly 2 decades ago. Philippe Santos and Terrence William vanished 3 months apart on the same road. They were last seen with the same now fired sheriff's deputy, who said he gave them each a ride to a Circle K convenience store, but he's never been arrested or charged. It's from WGCU, Naples Daily News and the News Press. This podcast is sponsored by Podscribe. Podscribe is now IAB certified, the only certified measurement provider who doesn't also sell media. See what data you're missing with a no-cost campaign today at podscribe.com/blog. And that's the latest. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.